They're back! Hey everyone, Templar74 here with another Yu-Gi-Oh video, and today's Yu-Gi-Oh video will be an episode impression regarding the latest episode of Yu-Gi-Oh VRAINS, episode 59, Hanoi's Return. That's right everyone, in today's episode, Revolver and his knights, Byra, Faust, Spectre, and Dr. Genome return, minus Dr. Kogami of course, and I must admit, this episode was kind of a shock, and depending on who you talk to, a relief. A shock being that a lot of people, myself included, were sure Playmaker was going to suffer his first defeat against Bowman last episode, which clearly didn't happen. So to get this right after that, this was just mind-boggling. Then you have those that say it was a relief due to Season 2 feeling dry and bland to them, which is fair too, and a perfectly valid argument. But regardless, love them or hate them, Revolver and the Hanoi are back, and at risk of further rambling, let's talk about the episode. So the episode begins in this maximum security prison where Byra is being held on charges of cyber terrorism, leveled against her by Solid Technologies because of her computer virus and the Tower of Hanoi, and as Byra sits in her cell, one of the guards tasked with watching her is really watching her, and we'll just leave it at that. So then we go back to Hanoi's virtual base where Faust, Genome, Spectre, and Revolver are going over just what the Knights know about what happened since the fall of the Tower of Hanoi. And during this part of the episode, which is basically a recap which lasts most of the episode, the Knights begin to discuss Flame, the Fire Ignis, who went to his base human, Soulburner, who Spectre identifies as a lost incident victim, although he's curious why his Ignis didn't come to him, almost in a joking manner as Genome reminds him that it's because you're a Knight of Hanoi. So as the Knights discuss Soulburner and Flame, Revolver shares Soulburner and Playmaker's real-world identities, which causes Faust to suggest the Knights just go after them in the real world, an idea that Revolver emphatically rejects, reminding the Knights that is not how he does things, and in the real world they are off limits. It's then Revolver expresses that he is most interested and curious about Bowman and just who he is and who he works for. But on this, the Knights of Hanoi came up dry on info, but the Knights are almost positive that Solid Technology is not responsible for Bowman, just due to the fact of how Bowman managed to escape Solid Technology, which means they have no control over him. And that's when Revolver declares that the Ignis may be responsible for Bowman, just due to his program sharing similarities with the Ignis, and combine that with the fact that he disappeared into another world beyond Solid Technology's reach, quite possibly a third Cyverse as Revolver calls it, which, by the way, if that's true, boy, that's a real game changer on Bowman in my opinion, to think that the Ignis could possibly be responsible for him. But that's a discussion for another day. The Knights then go on to discuss Solid Technologies, which Revolver vows to destroy, and its bounty hunters Go Onizuka and Blood Shepherd, who even the Knights refer to Blood Shepherd as a troublesome and dangerous, even if he couldn't get through the gate, which is more evidence to Revolver that the Ignis created it, as only the Ignis himself or his father could decipher the program to get through, before they switch over to Soulburner as well as Playmaker's evolving dueling, as the Knights agree Playmaker and Soulburner are the biggest threats to their plans. The Knights then adjourn and head off to spring Byra from prison, which they do rather successfully as the Knights all return back to the virtual world. We then go back to Yusaku, who is understandably frustrated that Bowman escaped, and him and I both reach the conclusion that all they can do now is wait for him to pop up again, all the while wondering what happened to Windy in the Wind World. But while Yusaku wanders about this, he gets a message from Kusanagi and heads back to him, where Yusaku is shown the news clip of Byra's escape from prison, which to Yusaku can only mean one thing, and that is Revolver is making his move again, which means now they have three enemies on three fronts to worry about. They have Bowman and Haru, Blood Shepherd and Go Onizuka, and now Revolver and the Knights of Hanoi. Hey, they're using the three things pattern again. But yeah, I kind of missed the three things pattern. I thought that was kind of interesting and unique. But again, another topic for another day. And that was pretty much the episode. Now, like I said, depending on who you talk to, this was either a shock or a relief. To me, I'm glad the Hanoi are finally back in the picture, as I do feel, and I've speculated this for months now, that Revolver and the Knights were going to be part of the Season 2 fight, but to what extent, I don't know. And although this episode was basically a recap episode mostly, I still give this episode a 7.5 out of 10 because Revolver just introduced a whole new level to the Bowman mystery, and I'm really intrigued to see what the Knights are going to do next. But yeah, so overall, gave this episode a 7.5 out of 10 in my opinion. Overall, seeing this episode and seeing where they're planning on going with this, it kind of scares me, to be honest. Vrains has a chance to make Season 2 epic here if they drag the Knights into the fray and make it way crazy complicated. However, they may end up drawing it out too much and it could end up becoming doomed to fail, kind of like Arc 5's lackluster ending. But anyway, that's another discussion for another day. So, as always, everyone, in the comments section down below, let me know what you guys thought of this week's episode. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Did you think it was just there? What are your thoughts about the Knights returning? Just what are your thoughts on what they could possibly do next? Just let me know in the comments section down below, because as always, I enjoy hearing from you. All right, everyone, as always, Templar74 signing off. Have a great day, everybody, and I'll talk to you all next time. Goodbye, everybody.